Breaking news, Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina says it's seeing a 40% increase in its deductible. And the mainstream media, well, they're blaming President Trump. Here to discuss with Grover Norquist. Grover, this news just out, of course, down in North Carolina. A possible 40% increase in deductibles, out-of-pocket max. Yeah. And they're saying it's all because if they don't get some more clarity from the Trump administration, they're going to have to go with the maximum here. Of course, this underscores the point that the GOP's got to get to work, or they're inheriting some bad things, particularly in health care, and they're going to own it. Yes.
President Obama spent 8 years blaming his 2% growth, lousy European levels of growth, on Bush. And now, the failure of Obamacare, he wants to blame on Trump. I don't know at what point he's going to take responsibility for something, but you're quite right that Obamacare is falling apart, and they're demanding that we spend more money to try and put it together. We need to do what Trump and the Republicans have talked about doing, which is to get rid of Obamacare, get rid of forcing people to buy Obamacare policies that they don't want, that they have to be taxed and legally forced to buy. And at the same time, we need to have strong economic growth. That's why getting rid of Obamacare and the $1 trillion of taxes, that Obamacare is 19 or 20 different taxes that add up to $1 trillion over a decade. We need to get rid of that. We need to move away from some of the mistakes there. But that's why it's equally important, or more important even, to get dramatic rate reductions so we can have more growth. The more people get jobs, the more people get health care attached to those jobs. You want to get people health care, get jobs created for them. That's what we need to focus on.
There's an article in the Wall Street Journal, GOP's proposed tax changes are no match for the status quo, essentially saying that the tax plan is dead on arrival.
I read the article, and the author thinks that tax reform is the Democrats' version of tax reform, where you get rid of all these deductions and credits. He sounded like he wanted to tax IRAs and 401ks. That is not where the Republicans are going, not the White House, not the House or the Senate. They're looking, and the consensus items, and this is the important thing, everybody agrees we're going to 15 or 20% corporate rate. Everybody agrees we're going to take pass-throughs down to about 15 or 20%. Those are the subchapter S companies. Right. People agree we're getting rid of the death tax. We're getting rid of the alternative minimum tax. There's no disagreement on the Republican side on any of these items. There's a discussion about what do you do about border adjustability of the corporate income tax. There are other items that are being discussed. But on the central issues of rate reduction and pro-growth policies, moving to faster depreciation schedules, those are all job-creating, GDP-enhancing changes.
Grover, can there be some sort of a combination within the Republican Party? Can subchapter S, small businesses, 95% of businesses out there, be taxed at 15%, and the larger multinationals taxed at, say, 25%? This way you don't need a border adjustment tax or some of the other things that are scaring the heck out of people and probably will never make it through the Senate.
Well, if you want to avoid the border adjustable tax, take the corporate rate, the rate that major companies pay, take that to 15. Then you don't quite have the same problem. One of the reasons we have the problem with companies being purchased by Canadian firms, Burger King, or Belgian firms, is that because we have a high tax rate and a worldwide tax system, a company based in Canada with the same number of outlets, the same number of employees, the same products, is actually worth more if it's owned by Canadians. Our tax law is that stupid.
Right.
Taking the rate to 15 solves many of those problems. I'm for permanently making a territorial tax system, but step one is get that rate down as low as possible to fix these problems. Right. The other thing we can do is we've been looking at a 10-year window. Why? Used to be a 5-year window. Then under the Clinton years, they moved it to 10. We're still at 10. All the law says is that the window of when you can cut taxes temporarily, even if it's not deficit neutral, is more than 5 years. So 10 years works, so does 25. Right. We should look at a 25-year window. That allows all the growth that comes from immediate expensing to take place within that 25 years, and it becomes revenue enhancing about 8 to 9 years out.
I've heard that idea starting to float around.
Very important. Solves a lot of the problems.
We're going to explore that a lot more, too, in the coming days, because more and more Trump officials are talking about that as well. Grover, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.